Questions from you guys.
Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Obviously excited to get started tomorrow. I think the guys have had a good preseason from when we've started, made a lot of progress, remained relatively healthy for the most part, and I think they're excited and ready to get to full throttle practice.
Coach, this is Troy. Just curious, have you guys have you had any COVID positive cases so far on the team?
Previously we have, yes.
Are there any currently?
Currently we're not. We have none.
Coach, just how much better do you feel with the familiarity coming back and not many new guys joining the program, obviously, a lot of experience returning?
Well, I think that the familiarity in all aspects has helped us. I think that we're not teaching from ground zero this year. Obviously, we have lost some time, but so has everybody else. But I do think the pace, the ability for these guys to retain things that they learned last year, and I think the biggest thing is really some maturity. I think that's all been evident so far.
Coach, you've done a good job in recruiting so far with this ball club. You bring in some great guys this year, and you did last year as well. What's been your focus in that regard, and how well do you feel like you've accomplished what you wanted to do a little bit?
Well, I think that the big thing we talked about, I think that the freshman class, those guys have matured. I think that you'll see some jumps. Brandon looks like Brandon's put on some weight. Tristen has put on 15 pounds. Charles has a year of experience. I think that those guys are all they understand what it looks like to play in the American. I think that's a big thing. Until you see it, you don't understand it. I think that Noah's come in and has shown flashes of what we thought he could be. He's had some absolutely dominating performances. He's had some ones where he looks like a freshman, but from an athletic standpoint and a field standpoint, he's different. Fifi has been a little banged up, but he's shown some things also. But I think the older guys also, Tremont's healthy. He looks different than he did at the end of the last season. I think that some of those guys, obviously Jaden's Jaden, but I think he's gotten better. And I think he's also tried to be more of a leader. I think that the maturity has been a very noticeable thing.
Coach, I know this could be maybe a loaded question or a fluid situation, but with the schedule, do you at least have a first game date or working toward a first game or know when that opponent is or anything like that?
Well, we have a lot of tentative things. I think a lot of it's also we have to make sure that they comply with the American Athletic Conference is saying that we need as far as a testing protocol. We've got a lot of, just like you said, a lot of possibilities. I mean, we have a tentative schedule. We don't have all contracts back, but we've got a schedule. And we're going to proceed like that. But as you said, this thing can all get flipped upside down in a second. So we've also got to have some alternative plans.
Coach, we saw Charles Coleman get better as the season went on last year. What has he done this offseason, and what does he need to do to take that next step for him?
Well, I think one of the things that's going to help him is having Luigi healthy. I think with Luigi, and hopefully when we get Fifi back here, playing against big guys, it's weird for big guys. When you're in high school, you're just so much bigger. It's easier because you can just get a shot off whenever you want. Now I think playing against big bodies every day in practice, I think it'll help him from that standpoint. I think his conditioning is a lot better. I think his familiarity is a lot better. And to Charles's defense, he was put in a lot of situations last year that he shouldn't have been put in. And it's not Charles's fault. It's just the reality where we've been. But I do think you'll see some growth from him, and I'm excited. I think he feels a lot better. He looks in great shape, and I think he's had a good fall so far.
Coach, going off the scheduling question earlier, we talked about that Florida tournament. Is that still a possibility? Do you expect to play in that?
That's we're planning on it now. That goes back to what we said. Making sure that all the teams. We've already had some teams in that because of state regulations can't travel to Florida. We're not one of the states, but you've had all those things. We've had some states that wouldn't allow them, and if you did play in the tournament, they had a quarantine for 14 days when they came back. So they've dropped out. There's a bunch of discussions going on and these things. We've got about 10 different scenarios. As you can see, there's stacks of papers sitting right there on my desk. Half of them are scheduling all the possible scenarios of things we can do. We've got a very good game plan, but we also have to be able to adjust on the fly if something pops up.
Coach, in this era of transfers, it's tough to bring good players into the program. It's also tough to retain them. But you got just about your entire team coming back. How tough is that to do, to bring all those guys back and kind of keep everybody happy within the program?
The hardest part really is the retention, like you said. I think it's a cancel culture, and guys are so easy to just get ahead and say, hey, listen, I'm not playing, I'm going to leave. And I think the rules make it a lot easier. I mean, it seems like every waiver that's gone out has been passed, and I think if this rule goes into effect, the one-time transfer, you're going to see even more. But I think the guys like going to school here. I think they feel like we're making some progress. And I think we've done a pretty good job of continuing to recruit the guys in our program, making sure that they know they're important and that we can get some things done here that they want to get done.
Coach, what have you learned about the AAC, from going around the schedule a couple times now? As you head into this season, what's the thing you have to do to be successful in that league?
I think we've said since we got here, you have to get old to stay old. I think it's a grown man's league. I do think this, and having been in the Big 12 and some other places, I think the league is very, very – and I'm not saying that the league is very underrated, to be quite honest. I think we don't get the national recognition, but you look at some of the places and some of the teams, you've got elite level coaches. You've got some really good venues. You've got really good mature teams. And I think you've got, as you've seen, multiple bid league. And I think you've got to get to that top half to quarter of the league to make sure you're an NCAA or NIT. And that's what we're focusing on.
When you look at, I think you said tomorrow is the first practice. Can you have the full team together, are there still protocols you have to kind of deal with COVID, or what is that kind of going to look like?
It's a science project, as like everybody else's, but we've had the guys together for probably, I would say, 2.5 to 3 weeks. Prior to that, we did it like the NBA. We did it where it was a group. There was 4 guys on the court, but they were all on their own basket. And they had a manager and they had a coach on the basket with them. And it was the same as the way the NBA did. We took it right out of the NBA protocol. Once we were allowed to move on to the next phase, we have been doing some 5-on-5 stuff, not as much as you would like to at this point, but we have done more 5-on-5 stuff the last couple of weeks as we moved along. But I think it's been different for the guys. I mean, they're used to having played pickup all spring, all summer, and now you sort of bring that to a halt a little bit for a safety reason. And now I think it's like Tristen said to me after the first day going up and down, it was weird to play full court, coach, and it probably is for some of these guys. And that was 3-4 weeks ago, and but we do have the guys out there doing 5-on-5 stuff.
I know you said the schedule is definitely tentative. How do you feel a condensed schedule would affect you guys' approach to the season?
Well, the thing that was perplexing, or not necessarily perplexing, we went from 18 to 20 league games. So then you had to put a couple of those league games in December. So that made it a little bit different. I think the real deal was being able to find teams that you had contracts with that you could, push off a year, or you could, or you could find different dates, and they had that date available. We went from 31 to 27 games, but you really essentially lost 2 weeks. So it's probably about the same pace as it would have been. It's just probably more so dates, and then maybe also trying to figure out if there are cancellations or delays where you're going to put those games, or if you're going to put those games anywhere.
Coach, year 3 for you now, a couple recruiting classes. Is this kind of the roster you envisioned? How do you feel like the roster construction has come about heading into your 3rd year?
I think one thing is we're obviously a lot bigger along the front line, bigger along the wings. I think we need to keep maturing. I think we need to continue. I think, with the recruiting classes we're trying to put together is continue to get long athletic guys and, try to be able to also maintain our athleticism. I do think that that's one thing we need to continue to upgrade is athleticism. And we've tried to do that, especially in this upcoming recruiting class. But I like where we're going. I like our pieces, and we just have to grow them and coach them and allow them to develop.
A month or so ago, ACC coaches got together and said they were in favor of every team making the tournament in college basketball. I don't know how much legs that actually has, but is that feasible? Is that something you'd be for, against? What are your thoughts on that?
I look at it a couple of ways. It's really a very difficult situation for everybody right now. I don't know how when you start putting 355 teams in a bracket, how that actually sorts out. I think the idea of it's good because it enables all the kids in a trying year to maybe get that opportunity, but I don't know how you could bracket it. The NCAA seemed to shoot that down in about 30 seconds, so I don't think it had much legs. But I do think that the flip side, I think the one intention is great, but I also think that you don't want to diminish, how hard. I mean, when you start thinking about college basketball, you get 100 teams playing the NCAA or NIT. So that's just over 30%. Now you look at college football, 70% of them are playing in bowls. So I don't think you want to diminish the college basketball, because let's cut to the chase. You go 15-15 in basketball, you go home sad. And that's the reality. I think you start doing those type of deals unless you win the conference. So I think, you keep the specialty of the uniqueness of playing in an NCAA or NIT and make it hard to attain, but also make it very, very rewarding.
It's been a very difficult year on many levels. So what's been done within the program to take steps to help the athletes with their mental health during these times?
I think we've done it. We've had guys talk. We've had Dr. Armin, our team doctor, has done a very good job of explaining the safety protocol. And I think he has been able to put our guys, and Nate Clark, our trainer, has done a good job of, on a daily basis, us reminding our guys what steps they need to try to take in order to be safe. And we've done things, for example, you guys brought up the trip to Florida. We talked with our guys, since it would be a commercial flight. Do you guys want to fly commercial or bus? They chose the bus because they felt more of a safety protocol. I do think that we've talked about a number of the things to ease these guys' minds. I think them also being around each other and getting into a little bit of a routine as opposed to being home and isolated has helped a lot of guys.
Coach, when you get you to look back a little bit, last season ended kind of prematurely, or so weird, obviously, when COVID kind of first hit when y'all were at the tournament, and now we're doing this virtually. I mean, we're still feeling the effects of this thing. I mean, what has this been like where you transition from last season to this season, but you're still kind of dealing with the unknown and whatnot? Things haven't gotten clearer to some extent.
I mean, I just think with our guys, trying to keep them positive and talking to them about the situation. I mean, the biggest thing I think our guys have done is that they've been very mature. They've discussed things that they felt comfortable with, discussed things they felt uncomfortable with. We've talked to them about the potential of, games not being played. Obviously, from August to September, coach, are we going to have a season? What's going to go on? And it's hard to not be able to give them definitive answers, but we just talked about it. And I said the same thing now. The next question those guys were asking this week is what's going to happen with the additional year? Well, we're anticipating it's going to happen, but there's so much uncertainty. It's just to give the guys as much information and to discuss with them as much as we know, just so they're not always, in the gray. They've done a really good job of asking questions. They've done a good job of asking the doctors questions. They've done a good job of asking us questions. I think it's helped them, to tell you the truth. But there's a lot of uncertainty, as we all know.
And just a quick follow-up to that. Obviously, in football season, people look at you're playing one game a week, one Saturday or whatever, and there's obviously been issues with that alone. I mean, with basketball, what are the challenges? I'm assuming it's different than football, playing 2, maybe 3 games a week. I mean, is that a concern, or how different is that from football?
It's a major concern. I mean, then you start factoring in it's an indoor sport. You start factoring in the proximity of the players and coaches. I mean, I think that's all a concern for everybody. I mean, I think the biggest thing is obviously to maintain the safety of our student athletes, and it is it's an ongoing situation. We're going to listen to the doctors and the medical experts and take their advice. But with testing and all these other things, there'll be some ups, there'll be some downs. Most important is to keep the kids safe.
To be successful this season, what's the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things that you're kind of hoping to accomplish in practice before the season starts here?
I think statistically, when you look at our stats from last year, obviously we need to shoot the ball better from the three-point line. That's been an emphasis. We went back, and when you start charting everything and do the stats on them, I mean, we looked at the percentage of open threes that we missed last year, which was a good number. And if we could take that from 28 or 29% to 32, 33%, it opens the floor. Our defensive numbers were noticeably different. Our first year, people shot 48% from the floor in the league. Last year was just under 44. I do think we could be a very good rebounding team. And I do think that one of the things that'll help our defense I don't think we'll turn the ball over as much as we did, especially early last year. If you recall, last year early, we turned it over at an alarming rate, and we got better as the season went along. So if we can keep our turnovers down, get a shot every time down the court, and eliminate some of those transition baskets, I think that we could be a noticeably different team.
Are you expecting there not to be fans allowed in the stadium for some of the games this year?
I don't know. I mean, I think right now they're still trying to sort through a lot of the things with football. They're going to see how some of these things go. Obviously, the state dictates what we're allowed to do. I think they're probably still trying to figure out, the rest with football. And then as this progresses into basketball, one of the positives, I do think, we do have a little bit of a way to, before we have to make those decisions and see how things go, and obviously continue to monitor this, and also, see if we make some progress.
Coach, we talked about Jaden potentially extending his range. Has he been able to do that in practice? And what are the big things he needs to improve upon to continue rounding out as a player?
Well, I think obviously being a consistent, 18 to 3-point shooter will continue to expand his game. We've talked about it. I think he's a very good rebounder. One thing I do think he continue to get better at is be a better defender. And if you look at guys in the NBA, most of those guys, unless you're a specialist, you've got to be a great two-way player. You can't be afraid to foul. It's usually when you're afraid to foul that you foul. I do think he can continue to become a better defender, and especially from the position that he knows what to do. And he can, when you're a big guy, it's a different perspective on the court because you're behind everything. So you can see everything in front of you. And he's got to be able to be a better communicator with those guys out in front and see the actions that are coming and call out some of the things that are going on, because he's very smart. When you go through scattering report, you watch tape, he's got a great feel. He understands what we're looking for, and then he's trying to do it. But I do think he's got to be a better communicator because, like I said, he can see everything out in front of him.
Coach, I was going to ask you about Noah Farrakhan being the new freshman. I know it's a really big get for you guys, and a guy that's from the Northeast, not too far from where you live.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's an elite level athlete. I mean, he has speed that I haven't seen in a while, to tell you the truth. I mean, he reminds me of a kid we had at Florida Gulf Coast and a kid we had at Kansas as far as pure burst. Needs to get a little bit stronger, but he can do some things with the ball. I think he's really had an advantage. He's played at really high level high school games. I mean, he's played at IMG and he's played at the Patrick School. So he's playing with guys that are at UConn and at Oregon and guys that are in the NBA. So he's used to playing on really good teams. So it's not like he's just the one guy out there dribbling the ball around by himself, and he's not used to playing with other people. If anything, he's had some spurts where he's really been dominant. He needs to be more aggressive, and we need to make him more aggressive with the ball. But he does things from an athleticism standpoint that are very, very impressive, very impressive.
Coach, from the outside looking in, it seems like Jaden is still the same guy he was when he came here as far as his work ethic, and he's seems to be a great kid. Like, has he changed at all with the accolades and success that he's gotten? He's
what you draw. I mean, you can't get any better. He loves East Carolina. He's got the same circle of friends. He's got the same, he's miserable every Sunday because he's a Cowboy fan. He's happy this year that the Lakers won. And if you really want to get after him, just make fun of his Cowboys. But he hasn't changed. He is maturing as a person, which we all do. But he doesn't act any differently towards our guys. He doesn't walk around like he's a big time guy. He shows up every day and puts his time in and tries to get better and tries to lead the best he can.
Coach, a couple under the radar guys, Batumba and Miles James. What do you kind of envision from them this year?
I think Batumba's made a big jump, and I think he was really disappointed, as he told me, when we did the postseason meetings, and as we've talked during the preseason, that he didn't play better last year. And I think he got in a little bit of his own way with his confidence. I think of one thing, he's been an unbelievable leader when we've done conditioning. He's tried to coach other guys. His attitude's been really good. And, I really hope he has a good year, most importantly for him, but it'll help us. But I do think you'll see a jump It's usually from the first to second year. He's in his second year. He knows what to do. Everything's not new, which is good for him because, he'd gone through a period where he's at Washington, then junior college. So you go 3 years, 3 different systems, seeing 3 different things. It's not easy, and you have 11 other new teammates. But I think Batum has done a really good job. Miles will be able to use his versatility. I think we can be able to use him some as a small 4 in some situations. A lot of these teams are playing smaller, especially out of conference. So to be able to use him as a small 4 and be able to stretch some things and use his ability, we hope he'll be able to step in and contribute.
Anything else for Coach, guys? If not, Coach, thank you for joining us. And if you guys just hang tight here, we'll start trickling in some of the players.
See you guys.
See you first. All right, guys, Jaden is here, so we'll go ahead and take questions for him.
Well, Jaden, what's this offseason, preseason been like? I mean, COVID's so weird, and just I guess now that you're actually having a season, it looks like how refreshing is that?
This offseason has been a challenge. It's been a lot of on and off just due to COVID, but I think everybody's adjusted, wearing our mask, doing everything we're supposed to do on and off the field, the court, and just coming this season with you just gotta fight through it. You just gotta fight through adversity. You just gotta be prepared. So, we probably heard that we probably weren't gonna play, but now we're playing. Just gotta be ready to go.
Kind of going on that, just how comfortable are you not only in practice right now, but potentially playing a game against another team, getting on a plane and traveling and playing a game? Is that not scary, but does that worry you all? Or are you not worried about any of the safety or anything there?
Every time we come to this court, every time the coaches come to the office, we're taking a risk. We're leaving our home. So if you have enough guarantee that we can do it here, we got to have enough guarantee that we can do it. Houston, Kansas, we're at Florida, wherever we play, just got to have that confidence, man. And really, you just got to have a built trust factor. Things going to happen, and we just got to leave it in God's hands.
Aiden, you've gotten better every year. Talk about what you've been working on during the off season here and where you feel like you've gotten better at the most and what you're trying to focus on.
Just been shooting, 3-point shooting, just shooting. First thing we came back, we just kept working on shooting and 3-point shooting. We were shooting hundreds of shots a day, a lot of skill work. I think everyone's development has come along. We're becoming a really good, solid fundamental team. I think shooting has been a big emphasis for me, especially to get better at expanding my range and start working on more and more all-around game.
Jaden, for you to play 38 minutes, 40 minutes, and play as hard as you do, is that something you could go out and do right now, or do you have to work your way up to that, this off-season conditioning and working like that?
Really, it's just when we jump ball, it's just sudden changes. I just try to do anything that I can to help my team win. And if I have to play 38, 40, then I will. It's just about a matter of will and just how I grew up and how I was raised, how I always will play the game.
If there's a condensed schedule this season, will you guys feel more of an urgency to win every game as they come?
Any game we play, we're trying to win every game. So just got to come with that mindset. If it's shortened, we get extra games, just got to come with that mindset that we're just trying to win. Pretty sure we're just trying to win. Simple as I can put it.
Jaden, you mentioned that 3-point shooting. Have you noticed a big increase in shots going in, or just have you worked on technique, fundamentals, shooting-wise? Kind of take us through some of the specifics there.
Shots going in, range, easier to shoot. Just through 3 years of just weight training, you get stronger, be able to push the ball farther. You start to understand now that I can shoot it more comfortably. I think one week of practice, I was hitting threes a lot that week during all the drills, but then mid-range was so because I was expanding my range, and I'm used to shooting threes because we shoot threes more than twos, so you got to kind of adjust. So my body is getting used to shooting longer shots, and that's good for my range, and then just got to hone in on everything else and make sure everything else is good.
There's been a lot of social justice protests this year in the world of sports, as you know. Is there anything planned? Have you talked to your teammates with ECU basketball this year for that?
Yes, we're gonna have some shirts made for some shooting warm-ups. But yeah, there have been talks. ECU's had a march. Some of our guys were out there. There's been a lot of talks about social injustice and just want everything to be accounted for. Just make sure that everybody knows that we're seeing this. We're going through it. I mean, most of our teams are African Americans, so we just want justice. We just want unity, and nothing too complicated.
With
Jake,
that,
go ahead.
okay, sorry. With that social injustice and COVID-19 and just everything you've had to deal with this year, what sort of resources has the campus made available for student athletes to help with those mental health feelings dealing with all of this?
Really, just having movements and groups. I mean, I'm in like two other groups, athletes for like social justice. I'm in the American Conference social justice movement, and American Conference put out a video about like social injustice. I'm in it, and some other athletes in the American are in it. So I think not just ECU, but the whole American is really bought in about bringing social awareness, and I think that's really cool to be a part of, and we're just gonna keep thriving with it.
Jaden, you talked about shooting the ball from outside a little bit more. Talk about your transition game, how you're having to acclimate a little bit more to, getting the ball in transition and sometimes bringing the ball up the floor here and there and distributing, and how that game is coming along for you, and what have you been working on this summer in terms of trying to, get better in that regard?
I mean, I've always been comfortable bringing the ball up. I think Coach always said if I ever get a rebound, I feel I can push it, go, pushing the ball, looking for my teammates. My vision, my passing game has been getting better year by year, finding people, knowing when the double's coming, reading the defense. So my IQ and my knowledge for the game keeps getting better as long as I keep playing. So my development in transition and finding guys has gotten better.
When you look back at the way last season ended, the tournament, the conference tournament getting canceled, and I'm sure that was just kind of a crazy thing. What do you kind of remember about that? And does that still serve as like a motivation in any way to get this season started and actually play games, considering you didn't really get to finish last year?
And yeah, it sucks going from preparing for Memphis, being in the hotel, day before we're all eating dinner, getting ready for the Memphis game, and then watching the NBA game, and they talk about season's been shut down as soon as the game was going on, and they talking about the shutdown. Then we're worrying about when we get shut down. And you just start to see conference tournaments talking about limited fans to then just canceling the whole thing. So I remember that day. I mean, that feels like yesterday, March 14th. Just packing up and going home, and I think not being able to work out at a gym. It's been really adversity for all athletes in America. But I think for one thing that we're going to see with fans or not, like Coach always talks about, we're going to find out who really loves basketball. Because with fans or not, you got to be out there, go out and compete. And those people that will go out and compete, fans or not, are going to be very successful. The teams that stay hungry are going to be very successful. So I think for us to have a best chance this season to bounce back from last season is to stay hungry. Whether fans are in the crowd or fans are not, we got to have self-motivation and we got to be hungry.
Jaden, Joe Dooley only had one negative thing to say about you, and that's that you're a Cowboys fan. Have you thought about maybe taking that out of your life and you'd have to keep your life?
Nah, man. Been a Cowboys fan since I grew up. Shout out to my dad. Been Cowboys fans. Still going through some tough times, but we're still first in the division. So, Coach, the Giants fan. 0-5. I mean, 2-3 better than 0-5. So I'll take it.
Okay, now the question as far as consistency goes. Last year you had a streak of, I remember after that Coppin State post-game show where the press conference was a tough 4-game stretch, but then you came back after exams, you win 6 out of 7. What is it going to take for you guys to put a string of nice wins together? You showed you could do it in the past.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about chemistry, rhythm, and being here before. I will say this from last year, all the guys didn't know what conference play was going to be like, didn't know what division basketball was going to be like. We had a lot of freshmen and a lot of JUCO guys that haven't even touched Division I basketball. So basically, they were all freshmen. So hopefully, we see that familiarity and we start to gel earlier than often. And we had injuries to deal with. So hopefully, we come first game with everybody, and then we build on a win and keep building and building and keep building this thing up so we can go streaking or go streaks multiple times during the season.
Guys, if nobody else has anything for Jaden, we'll excuse him, and I'll be right back with a couple of different guys. All right? Hold on. Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you.
All right, guys, Brandon Suggs is here. We will take questions for him, and then once he's done, we'll have Tristen Newton.
Well, Brandon, how much different is this time this year compared to this time last year? You were a freshman coming in, now you're a sophomore. Just how do you compare and contrast that?
Yeah, it's different, but I think the only difference is just dealing with the circumstances that we in. I don't feel like it's a difference on the court. It's just us getting back to what we're used to while dealing with this pandemic.
Brandon, you picked up a lot of experience last year. What does that do for you coming into this season against a grueling conference schedule?
It gave me a lot of experience. I feel like I know what's ahead of me now. I'm ready. Like I know like just the different defense that's gonna be at us and stuff. Like I feel like I can just play more comfortable than last year, because last year I was still getting used to everything and stuff. So I feel like this year will be different.
It sounds like three-point shooting has been a big emphasis for the whole team. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed your numbers kind of tick up in practice at all, shooting from outside?
Yeah, I feel like my shot as well has gotten better. I feel like as a team, like guards, even our bigs are able to hit a three. So I feel like as a team we have gotten better at the 3-point shot.
Anything else for Brandon?
Brandon, I had a question. Last year, you always hear that term in basketball that you didn't play like a freshman. You didn't seem to be intimidated by – I know there was a lot of tough opponents in American, but you really seemed to have your game there from the get-go.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you in the beginning. It was kind of breaking up.
I was saying that you actually we always hear the term in basketball with the fact that as far as playing like a freshman, you didn't play like a freshman during the American competition. You seem to have your game together from the get-go from the time you came to East Carolina.
Yeah, I credit that to like the coaching staff and stuff. I feel like they got me ready for the season. Just with the workouts and stuff, I feel like my teammates pushed me to get better, and I feel like I played a little better my freshman year than others.
You guys returned basically all the scholarship players except for a couple. I mean, last year around this time you were learning everybody's game around you. Now that you kind of know going in, how much easier is it going to practice, going into games, kind of knowing how everybody plays off each other?
Yeah, it's good. I feel like that's important for basketball, team chemistry, and I feel like this is our second year together, so I feel like our team bond and our chemistry has gotten better, and y'all see that on the court and see that on the court this year.
What's your general feeling about this team as you enter the season? Some of the guys have got a lot of experience from last year. You got some new guys coming in. Talk about some of them and how things have gone so far.
Yeah, I feel like our team we good. Like a lot of stuff that we around this time last year we won like fast on it, but this year I feel like we ahead of the game than we were last year. And like our new guys like Noah, Fifi, BK, and David, they giving us a lot of boosts. Like they learning still, so like they still like getting used to like the offense and the speed. But we see like the growth already from a couple months. We see the growth in them.
Brandon, we asked Coach Dooley about scheduling and like just some of the unknown, obviously with this season and whatnot. What's it like as a player? I mean, do y'all kind of just stay out of it and let the coaches deal with that stuff, or are y'all interested in who you might play or win or any of that type of stuff?
Nah, we don't really like talk about the schedules and stuff with the coaches. We just let them handle that. I feel like we just be practicing. We ready to play whoever on the schedule. We gonna be ready to play.
Brandon, what have you seen from Noah Farrakhan? Have you guarded him at all? Dooley said he's very fast. I know he's still learning the game, but what have you seen from Noah?
Yeah, he a pretty good guard. He quicker than others, but it's just something getting used to. I'm used to it a little bit. So yeah, he good, athletic.
He's sitting right here too, so he's embarrassed. You guys have anything else for Brandon? All right, Brandon, thanks. Then we'll let Tristen slide in over here. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Pete. All right, guys, we'll go ahead and take questions for Tristen now.
Tristen, what is, I think Coach Dooley mentioned you by name as well. What have the practices been like, workouts kind of recently? And the first time you played a full court game or session, what was that like? I mean, it's probably been a while since y'all been able to do that.
It's been a couple of months. It was like when we first went up and down, it was pretty difficult because we weren't in that good of a shape. But then last week we did boot camp. So I feel like we're getting better because on what's today? Thursday. On Tuesday we went up and down and it felt good. I feel like we all know each other's games by now and it's just getting easier.
Tristen, how do you contrast this time this year as far as as being a player compared to this time as a freshman last year? There was talks you might redshirt last year and then you had the season you did. So compare that to now.
I'm just a little bit more comfortable now. I feel like I know my role. I know what to do. I know my players around me. So it's just a lot easier and I'm a lot more comfortable with what I'm doing.
With COVID, were you still able to work out, put on weight, and during the offseason get stronger? I know that was a big focus for you.
Yes, and El Paso had a gym next, 10 minutes up the street that one of my friends runs. So he was letting me go to the gym to lift weights and everything. I didn't really have a goal. I had a hoop outside my house, so that was all the basketball stuff that I was doing. But as far as lifting and eating and stuff, I got to do that every day.
Tristen, this team continues to improve. What is it that you like about this bunch coming into the season, and where do you feel like this team has kind of improved the most?
I feel like we improved in our energy. We come into practice ready every day. Unlike last year, we didn't. It seemed like sometimes we want to be there, but this year it feels like we want to be there every day. We all know our roles, so I feel like it's a lot. We're a lot more comfortable as a team. The bigs know what to do, and the guards. We know our defensive schemes, our offense and stuff. So it's just we're a lot better.
Tristen, I know I did that story with you, the Michael Jordan documentary and LeBron, and you were Team LeBron. I'm assuming the Lakers championship has strengthened that at all? Is LeBron still your dude?
Yes, of course. LeBron's always number one. He's going to be the GOAT. Stop it there.
Is that Jaden clapping in the background?
No, that's Derek.
Oh, okay.
Team MJ.
Tristen, anything individually you're looking to improve upon with your game going into your sophomore year?
I feel like I could play a lot better defense and a lot better with my shot selection and decision making. I feel like last year I was forcing some shots and wasn't too engaged on defense, so I'm trying to improve on that.
Anybody else for Tristen? All right.
Thank you.
All right, we got one more. Noah Farrakhan is here. So, guys, we'll take questions for Noah.
Noah, coming in as a freshman, how have things maybe matched your expectations coming into a D1 program? How do you feel like it's gone thus far?
It's been going well. It's been very great transition from high school, the Division I level. Coach Dooley's making everything. The transition really easy for me.
What's it like playing with Jaden Gardner, obviously kind of the leading scorer on this ECU team the last few years? If you already kind of got a bond going with him at all on the court?
Yeah, definitely. Me and him got I wouldn't say down pack yet, but the 1-2 game, coming off the pick and roll and just having him, such a still guy coming off that screen, it just makes life so much easier for me and him. So.
No, where you feel like you made some progress during the off season, and how do you feel coming into this season a little bit? Where do you have to get better?
I feel like I made improvement on my jump shot and being more consistent with my style of play. Some games last year, you see me, I have like 7 points or 3 points, and I come back and I have like 20. Just staying more consistent, and I'm looking over to improve this year is just overall everything. Any way I can get better. Just looking for the guys that's here. Just show me the ways, and just continue to get better with them.
Noah, going back to your recruitment, I mean, you obviously had a lot of offers. What was it about ECU Joe Dooley that led you to East Carolina?
He's just somebody that's been around all the way throughout my high school career, and back when I was a freshman, he wasn't a coach at St. Benedict's, but he was somebody that was around St. Benedict's. He graduated from St. Benedict's. He's a heavy alumni there, and he's always just kept the bug in my ear. And then wherever he went, I always stayed in tune. He's a winner, so why wouldn't I want to play for a winner? And I've been a winner since high school. So it's just making that transition, making the move. It was just somewhere I felt like it was home. It was somewhere it was easy, and it's been pretty good so far.
Bill, you've been successful pretty much everywhere you've been so far. What's your sense of this team as you enter East Carolina here for your first year? What's this team going to be like?
I feel like this team's going to be very special because I feel like the guys from last year, they learned from their mistakes last year, and they're coming in with more confidence, more confidence, and just seeing that and coming in my experience, my winning mentality, I feel like it's going to be a very exciting season because they helped me tremendously, and I feel like me being such a good IQ point guard, and in a way, I feel like it's just going to be a magical year.
Hey, off the court, what's it kind of been like as a freshman, just starting college, during COVID and during these times, and, students were on campus and they're sent off and online classes. I mean, what's it just been like this whole experience of starting college during this?
It's been pretty good, the transition. It's like how I was in high school at IMG Academy. So it's like, it was a boarding school. So like the transition wasn't really that hard for me. But overall the living is everything that you would need as a Division I athlete. And it's just it's like home here, and I mess with the faculty, the staff, everybody's a warm welcome here, and it's been very, very, very nice experience so far.
You obviously played at some big time schools, with Patrick School and IMG. How would you compare the daily, practice schedule of Division I compared to those? Is it still a pretty big leap, just getting used to that physicality, that side of things?
I feel like it's pretty not the same. College is a little bit more different. But I feel like dealing with IMG and the Patrick School, we had like one of the top-notch, trainers from all different types of areas, from the Bay Area all the way from like Florida, exactly. So it's like, it was just the best of the best day in and day out in high school, and then making the transition here, dealing with people that are at the Division I level, it's just been great. So, yeah.
What are some of the challenges you think with COVID and, playing basketball, practice and games? What are some of the challenges y'all face specific to COVID kind of day in and day out?
So far we've been pretty good. No cases at all. So, we don't really try to focus on that, keep our minds off of it. You know, we just really try to focus on basketball and what's the plan for this year. We don't really think of COVID being in a way like that because, you know, all is our mind is basketball, and that's what we really wanted to, you know, play the season this year. And Coach Dooley has been keeping his head strong, keeping us focused on that. So it's just, we just think about basketball every day. And COVID, if it, you know, something happens, we can't, it's out of our control, you know, we got to leave that up to the people that are professionals to, you know, find what's the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Noah, you referenced your time at the IMG Academy as well as the Patrick School and playing a very high level of competition. So just talk about that and how it prepared you to play in a very challenging league like the American.
It's prepared me pretty well. I mean, like I said, the transition wasn't that difficult. It's been pretty well for me. I'm playing at a faster speed than I was in my high school days, but that's the only thing. I feel like that's the big difference in college and high school is just the speed of the game. And I feel like playing IMG in the Patrick School they helped me out a lot, you know, for college, and it's made the transition a whole lot easier. And it's going well, you know. So I feel like it's nothing I can't handle, nothing that it can't be fixed. That if it was a problem, you know what I'm saying.
Anything else for Noah?
All right, guys.
Thanks, Noah. Good job. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys coming on today. We'll try to do this again sometime in the next few weeks. If you have any requests or need anything prior to that, feel free to reach out to me. All right. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Jody.